Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. We're going to do a restorative practice, so hopefully we'll get to about an hour to get all the really great yummy benefits from it. I will say before we get started, wear your most comfortable clothes. We want to be able to kind of let go and not have anything constricting on, so no tight sports bras and yoga pants if we can, something a little bit looser, something that really will let us expand. And then also we'll be using props. So if you have some blocks, blankets, bolsters, pillows, bring it all with you, even a strap. If you've got none of it, if you don't have any blocks and you don't have a bolster, grab some blankets because we can fold them and use them in different ways, and I'll show you how to do that. So get your props set up. We're going to start in a supported Supta Baddha Konasana, which is also known as supported goddess pose. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a couple of different ways, and then I'll hold the pose and we'll move along together. So also, last thing before we get started, is maybe put on a nice playlist for yourself. I'm going to try and link one in the description here that I made. That way you can just mellow out with this, listen to the music that you like. Hopefully I won't talk too much, so you can just move as you need to through the practice, okay? So one block on the highest setting, one block on the medium setting if we have the blocks to start. And then bolster is going to come right just a few inches away from that second block and lay against it. And I also put a blanket down on my mat just for some more comfort. So from here, before I go anywhere, I want to make sure that my back is touching the bolster. I don't want any space between my back and the bolster. Now this could be enough. You can bring the soles of the feet together to touch. Have the knees open, and the feet can be as close or as far as you want them to go. So if you need more of a diamond shape, take that. And then lie back on the bolster, let the arms fall off to the sides. So this is option one. And sometimes you have to kind of move the low back around. If you're working with just blankets, not a problem. Grab one of them. See if you can get it to about this shape, this rectangle, and then start to roll it. So you're making a really long blanket roll for yourself, like so. Put that where the blocks and the bolster would be, and that's going to be your back support, and that's going to go same thing, up against the back, so it's touching you, and all the way down the spine, and hopefully it supports the head as well. And so if you have the blanket and you don't have blocks, you just lay back. If you do have blocks, throw those under your knees for some support here, and then lie back. And the arms can go wherever you would like, wherever is comfortable. If it's not out to the sides, it might be to the hand and the belly and the heart. It might be just hands, one on top of the other at the belly, watching the breath. Wherever you'd like. And then we're really going to find stillness. So take any adjustments that you need. If the body needs to wiggle, if you needed to get yourself more comfortable, do so. And then settle in. As you're in this pose where the heart can be open, really start to breathe into that space in your chest. And if the legs ever feel uncomfortable here, you can always do the opposite. Take the feet as wide as your mat, let the knees fall in together. Or if it feels okay for the low back, legs just out long. Seeing if you can let the body just melt around the props. And if your mind starts to wander, just notice and see if you could bring it back to your breath, back to sensation, grounding, or maybe even it might go blank. Maybe. And if you need a little bit of movement, we're going to stay here a little while longer. Whether you're on the bolster or the blanket, might feel good to kind of move the arms a little bit. I like to take them up, feel the shoulders on the back. If you're on the bolsters, they might kind of hang, suspend in the air and really feel good on the insides of the shoulders. If you're on the blanket, just feeling them, feeling the blanket between the shoulder blades and maybe cactus in the arms could feel nice. Feeling again the opening at the front of the body. And take about 5 deep breaths here before we transition out of it. Make them as deep as you can. Exhale through the nose or out of the mouth. Letting go of something each time. Filling up with love on the inhale. Releasing what you need on your exhale. I lost count, but let's do one more. And then no rush out of this posture. In fact, move as slow as you can and start to find the floor with your feet first. And once you've found the floor with the feet, start to roll over onto your side. So your left hand's going to come over across the shoulder and then start to push yourself up. And we're going to take a little counter pose. So if we're just using the blanket's going to be our prop. We're going to bring it around. Take it underneath the knees. That Baddha Konasana, again, soles of the feet together, knees open. And you might stay here. If you have blocks as well, This is really nice and supportive. You could bring your head down to stacked blocks, drop your forehead down, and stay here. And maybe you're more flexible. Maybe you come down to one block even. If you have a bolster, you could use that instead of the blanket, right? So the bolster goes underneath my knees, and then the blanket, this is lovely, gets untucked just a little bit, goes over the toes and around the ankles. So now my feet are nice and warm and I have support under my knees. And blocks or not, right? So if we're sitting here, we might be like this. What I really, really enjoy even more is scooting the booty away from the bolster, right? So making more of this diamond shape with the legs and then coming down. And today, the block sounds really nice. So whatever level that you're at, remember if you don't have blocks, that's okay. If you can, if it's comfortable for you, the arms might come forward, palms face up. And then start to find your breath. And check this out. So you were breathing into the front of the heart space, the chest, before. We're still going to keep the breath within the heart space, just in the back of the body. So really feel that expansion between your shoulder blades. Feel your head pressed into the prop if it's there. If it's not, feel that length at the back of your neck from dropping your head, chin to chest. Inhale fills you up with love. Exhale, let something go. And don't doubt yourself as you think about what you need to let go. It could be a silly one-word thing. It could be something that you're working on that's big. Each exhale, let it go. Get it out. But don't forget to take that love on the way in. Fill up with it from you. Feel the roots in the sits bones. I didn't mention this as we came into the pose, but stay in it. If you have another blanket that's within an arm's reach, you might grab it and potentially cover up the low back. Maybe cover up your shoulders if you're a little chilly. And just keep breathing into the posture. Feel the support from the props, from the earth, from the universe. Just a little while longer here. If you're using the props and they're stable, or you could take your hands to them easily without changing your shape too much, maybe start to roll your forehead left to right. Get into the sinuses in the head. Get a little head massage out of it. It's really nice too, next time you do this practice, maybe put some oils on your feet, essential oils. I put patchouli and vetiver on my feet, and then I've got lavender on my body. So it's really nice, especially in these postures where you don't realize how close you are to the feet. And then before we move, a couple of deep breaths. Make them nice and soft, in through the nose, out through the mouth. A little bit bigger for the next one. Biggest of all without strain. And then take whatever props you have under your head and your hands. Start to lift up slowly. The head's going to roll up last. And we're going to transition again. So blocks can come off to the sides. We're going to get into some twists here. Keep your blankets available. And I'm still going to show you all the options for this as well. All right, so if we have the bolster, this is works really well for the bolster. It's going to go in the center of the mat, right? And again, just like those other poses, we want it touching the body. So really up against you, right? No big space there. And then from here, set up your legs. So I really enjoy the right foot on the knee, and then so both of my knees are bent, right? If that doesn't work, you might kind of stack the knees. And then if you're here, take one of your blankets, cover up your feet, your legs, maybe take it over you all the way. But to set up the upper body, one hand on either side of the bolster, right? And make sure again that the bolster is still up against you. And then see if you can really turn your left shoulder. So if it's on my right hip, I'm turning my left shoulder towards it. Maybe I turn so much that I square the upper body there. Maybe not. And then we start to lay down. So my chest comes down. If I want the full twist and it's not going to strain my neck, left cheek. The left cheek would be down. If not, right cheek. And again, make sure that you're comfortable, right? So if you need to pull that blanket up over you, hands can just kind of fall out to the sides. Try not to have the elbows right underneath the shoulders so you're not pushing yourself up, right? Give yourself some space here. And then close your eyes. So if you don't have a bolster, but let's say you have blocks and a blanket. If you've got the bolster, stay there. I'm coming back to that one. If you've got blocks and a blanket, take 2 blocks, right? Line them up. And then take a blanket and fold it up. So it's maybe like this. Drape that over your blocks. Same idea. Pull the hip up nice and close to the prop. Get some cover over the lower half of the body for comfort. And then turn the arms or the chest, plant the hands, and then lay down on the blocks. It might not be as much support for your head, so you might keep the right cheek down. Or you might take a pillow or something else underneath the head right here, just for that little additional support. Same thing, elbows out. Finding this twisted shape in our bodies. And make sure that you're just closing your eyes, breathing into the twist. And here's the other thing. If you need to, adjust your hips. So you might bump that right hip under, stack your knees, right? If this is a little bit more comfortable for you, stay here. The legs don't have to be parted. And this is about restoring. So making sure that you can be comfortable here and then staying here. Larger chested ladies, if it's too much to turn all the way towards the bolster with the flexibility you have, stay on the side a little bit more. Adjust for your body. Make sure the hands are soft, the feet are soft, no tension being held. Start to find some nice deep breaths. That's like my third yawn. And we're going to transition out of this just to the other side. So, hands come underneath your shoulders. Take your time. Start to push yourself up. And there's two ways to go about this. You could come through your knees to stacking your left hip, or you could just come through your back to your left hip. I'm going to move my bolster around so I'm still facing you guys. And then just make sure, same thing, you've got the same coverage over the lower half of your body so you're comfortable. Your left hip is up against your bolster, and then your hands plant, turn your chest as much as comfortable. Start to lay down for the full twist. Your head will be to the left. If that's not okay, head to the right. See if you can let your arms go. A little while longer on this side. Start to find those nice deep breaths. And as slow as you can, Hands come underneath the shoulders. Push yourself up. Finding another transition for ourselves. Move your bolster and take it across your mat. And if you have a blanket, you'll use the blanket the same kind of way, right? You'll just get it. And you might even use 2 blankets if you're just using the blanket. That way you have more surface area without the roll, and you have a little bit higher height. But I don't know, maybe your blanket's thick enough. You can kind of test it out and see. So this goes across, and we run it right over the pelvis. And then again, take your other blanket behind you and just cover yourself up. So I'll show you before I cover up. Right, so I'm coming down, my chest is on the ground, and I'm taking crocodile arms. So my forehead's down, my hands are stacked. My feet are on the ground. And if anything, move closer towards your hips instead of up into the belly for this one. And then just get comfortable. If it is more comfortable to take one ear down, right, get a little stretch in the neck, that's totally fine. I just find that head down works well. And feel your hip bones on the prop. Tops of the feet on the earth. Notice if they're slightly turned in or out or straight. Don't need to adjust, just notice. Feel the knees on the earth. If the prop is in the belly at all, in the low abdomen. And feel the space between the belly and the floor, the lift from the prop. Feel the chest on the earth, the arms, the hands, and where the head's connected to you. And feel how grounding it is to just breathe face down. Feel the subtle arch in your low back. The glutes relaxed, the hamstrings, the calves, soft. Feel the back soften, the arms, back of the head. Just about one more minute here. Maybe start to find that deep breath. Filling up and releasing. And again, we're going to transition slowly out of here. So first, pick your head up. Start to feel your glutes and your legs flex, right? So engage those muscles, and then hands underneath the shoulders. Start to push back, come onto your knees. And we're going to take a very restorative child's pose. So bolster or blanket just switches from horizontal to diagonal. Now I really like to bring it all the way up into my belly. So you might do that. If you have an extra prop or an extra bolster, you can take it behind the legs, which is really nice as well. For this one, I recommend covering all the way up from your shoulders. You can throw that extra prop behind your legs and then sit back on the prop. You can have your head one way or the other, or if you really like to have your head down, really turn your forehead towards your chest. Keep your head down. You might even cover up your head. Move into like this little cocoon. Except for this is a pleasant cocoon. And breathing here, of course. Arms can be out long. Sometimes it's nice to kind of have them back by your sides, maybe tucked under your legs. Really allowing your belly to drop here. Feeling the bolster up against it. Feeling the stretch of your spine. Just a little bit longer here. Finding that breath again. Nice and slow, hands coming to the earth, sliding them back underneath your shoulders, then pushing yourself up. Move that prop from behind you. And then we're going to get back into some twists and then Shavasana. So, for our supported supine twist, if we have the bolster, blocks, or blanket, any of the things can work for us. We're still going to use this blanket to cover up unless you're really warm at your house. So take the bolster from the right hip down, right? And a little different than your usual supine twist. You're going to have a little space here. I would like you to come all the way onto that right hip. Take the left leg on top of the bolster so you have the support, and then cover that leg up. So I'm totally on my right hip here. And then reaching my left shoulder back down to the ground. And it may or may not touch. We're not going to force it. Oops. You can have the arms out long if you like, palms face up. Or the hands can be down by the sides. And find your breath here. Feeling into the support of the leg, feeling the right hip underneath you. The shoulder slightly reaching for the ground if it's not already there, but just weighted really. Just gravity, not forcing anything. Just about another minute here. Finding those deep inhales and exhales. Nice, easy transition out of this one. Just start to hug that left knee back in towards your chest and Come onto your back, adjust your hips. And maybe you kind of move over on your mat just slightly. And then take your bolster to your other side from your hip down. You might scoot a little away from you. Same thing, I'm going to come all the way onto my left hip, stack my leg, make sure I'm comfy, and then take my arms where I want them to be. Shoulder reaching for the earth without any pressure or any added strain. And as normally, you might take your left hand to your right knee for that twist to kind of hold it there. Maybe even rub out your IT band a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of a self-love, self-touch. A little bit longer in this posture, in this twist. Start to find your breath. And see if you could, before we even move, just make a commitment to stay for the rest of the practice, to give yourself our next position, Shavasana. And very easily, slowly start to bend into that right knee. Come back through center. And we are going to set up the props one more time for the most restorative Shavasana. So over to the side, push yourself up. Now if you just have a blanket, you're going to take that blanket roll right underneath the knees. If you have a blocks and bolster or blocks and blanket, check this out. Highest setting. right? You're going to get as close as possible to yourself because your knees are going to go, the creases of your knees are going to go the edge of the prop. So if I have a blanket, very carefully I'll stack that. Bring my legs over, and this is what I'm talking about. My knees at the prop. So that's your first option. Second option is if you do have that bolster, you can place that on top of the blocks. Bam. Same thing. Knees up against it. So my feet are going to hang off. I'm going to take the blanket though, cover them up. And then if I have that other blanket, cover up the rest of my body. And this will be our longest hold of the practice. Get nice and comfortable. Palms face out to the sides. Kind of wiggle your shoulder blades in towards each other. There should be no low back pressure here. And slightly tuck your chin and then settle in. To signal to the body to relax, to let go, to release. Take a big inhale through the nose. Big exhale out of your mouth. Do that again. Big inhale. Exhale, let it out. One more. Make some noise. Natural breath. your body as is and just start to deepen your breath. Feeling the belly rise and fall. Feeling the restoring, the release, the love inside of you. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Stretch the arms out up overhead. Kick the props over if you need to stretch the legs out as well. And then roll over to the side of your choice. Use the arm as a pillow. Stay comfortable. And then finally take your time, pushing yourself up. Coming to a seat. Close the eyes for a second. Feel your breath. Feel your body. I feel pretty relaxed. Bring your hands to heart center, returning to the heart with Anjali Mudra. Thanks so much for practicing with me. Thumbs to meet the third eye, and we'll bow to the practice to yourself. Have a great day. If you guys like this video, please subscribe to my channel and we'll get some more videos up very soon.